we can't even guarantee a safe environment for a child to grow up in, what good is anything else?
What was that inflection point that made you realize, I've got to do this?
Okay, so I can just quickly tell you how this thing started with us. We had our son, and like every parent, we were like very excited and buying random things, which I think a lot of parents do. And then I ended up buying a cloth diaper from Amazon, which I had no idea how to use. And in trying to figure out how to use that, I landed up on this Facebook page, which is called Cloth Diapering India, just to understand how to use a diaper, a cloth diaper, and all of that. And after a lot of time, I asked everybody there why they did that. Why do you cloth diaper your kids, when disposable diapers are available? And I think every single answer had a few things, but everybody said it's good for the environment. And that was like this. I was like, okay, so why is a disposable diaper not good for the environment, right? So I started doing a little bit of research on that, and that kind of led me to this whole, it's like you go down the rabbit hole of how waste is such a big crisis. And it's, I think, like they say that we are living in the biggest garbage crisis ever, because our waste, when it leaves our house, it does not disappear, of course. It goes to a landfill. And landfills are outside every major city right now. And landfills are a huge issue because landfills pollute the air. They release methane gas, which is a very, very dangerous greenhouse gas. Actually, methane is about 35 times more powerful than carbon dioxide in its power to trap the heat. So it's a very dangerous gas. It causes fires. All the waste that is mixed, so your wet waste, your sanitary waste, your dry waste, your e-waste, so leaking batteries, all these things kind of mix up and they become extremely toxic, and they pollute the soil, they pollute the water, and this is all directly affecting us, right? We are breathing that air, we are eating food that is grown in the soil, we are drinking the water, we are polluting our ocean. So it is all directly related to us. And I think the more I read about this crisis, I was like, I am not contributing to this. We will not contribute to this crisis of waste. We want to do something which is more towards the solution and not towards the problem. So slowly started figuring out what are the alternatives. And everything that I told you, and I will, I can give a few pointers, but slowly and gradually, it's a slow process. We did not do anything overnight, and I don't think anybody can or should do anything overnight. But we just started looking at what are we wasting. Like you said, you do a waste audit, or you just figure out from your dry waste in your dustbin, and you see where is it coming from, and can I find an alternative for that? Can I get something which is package free? So for us, we realized that a lot of our waste was coming from the kitchen, which I think is true for most of us. Your grocery packaging, right? It's a lot. So we were fortunate enough that there is a zero waste store next to our house, and we go and do our groceries every 2 weeks. We go with all our big dabbas and cloth pouches, and we get everything from there. But what I have discovered is that you can do this in any store. You can go to a local grocery store, you can go to a hypermart, you can go to a Star Bazaar, Hypercity. You have a lot of things which are available loose. So you do have that option of buying it in your own container. There are dry fruit stores. You must have seen with those big jars.
Yes.
We have started buying all our dry fruits from stores like these, which give you again in your own bags. You can buy, we've gone to bakeries and got cake in our own container, or pastries. I think it's everywhere. We just have to look for it, and we just have to exercise that option of saying, okay, can I get mithai in my own dabba? Every mithai shop will give you mithai in your own dabba. They have no problem, because they are anyway going to put it in another box. You give them your box, they'll put it in that. It's like, it's nothing. So for us, it was, okay, let's start reducing all these things which are coming from packaging. That was one of the things that we did. And now we hardly ever get anything which is, if there is an option to get it unpackaged, we don't get it packaged. So we get it in our own containers.
I must say that I really respect you for this, because कहीं पे आप शुरुआत करते हैं and then what happens is you don't find the options and then the josh fizzles out. How did you manage to keep that josh alive and continue and say, listen, I'm going to find alternatives to these things that I'm struggling with?
It was all because of my son. I was like, oh my God, what is my child going to grow up into? Like, what are we doing to the environment, right? And I just kept thinking, and that's what my husband and I would discuss, that if we can't even guarantee a safe environment for our child to grow up in, what good is anything else? What is the point of doing anything else if he is going to suffer from natural disasters? If there's going to be so many issues, and it's not in the future, it's already happening. We just saw this massive heat wave. We are seeing so many natural disasters are happening. The weather is changing. There is so much already happening. It's just that people never relate these things to climate change. They'll be like, oh, the weather is like this. But I think from an individual level, this is, at least I need to do something. I know I can't change policy. I wish I could. I can't change policy. I can't, do all of those things. But at least as an individual, I can reduce my waste, which I think is a very, very big way to contribute towards this issue.
Right. Also, tell me, Sonika, when you spoke of, seeing and taking that first step, I feel, how did you track the waste to know, here is where I can make a change, here is where I can change, here is where I can get an eco-friendly product or substitute this? How can an individual or a household go about taking that first step and then going forward reducing it?
So I'll tell you something. The first step I feel is to, first of all, reduce your consumption. Just, reduce overall in buying every random thing and try and buy something that you really need. That is one thing that we definitely did. And I personally deleted all shopping apps from my phone so that I don't get tempted. I started blocking all ads of e-commerce sites that were coming up on Instagram or social media so that I don't get those ads. And that helped a lot. So I was not tempted. And the second thing, of course, is to segregate your waste. So when you segregate your waste, and let's say you have a pile for dry waste, just leave it there for a week. Even if you do it for a week, just keep, let it pile up. And then you can see where it is coming from. You'll be able to see for yourself. Is it coming from e-commerce packaging? Is it coming from food packaging? Is it coming from somewhere else? And wherever that is coming from, try and find an alternative to that first. And one more thing we did was we decided that we will not use anything that is disposable as far as possible. So even if it is made of cotton, even if it is made of paper, like we don't use tissue paper, we use cloth napkins. Yeah. We don't use any cotton balls. I'll just show you. I love these. Yeah. These are crocheted face wipes. So it doesn't matter whether it's made of cotton or it's made of paper. If it is single use or even like a couple of uses and then you're going to throw it, if you don't do that, you will not generate that waste in the first place. So if you can say, okay, I will try my best to not use anything disposable, you will save a lot on the waste. You will generate much lesser waste than you were generating earlier.
And when you analyze that dry waste, what was it typically, and what substitutes would you recommend for those?
So for us, it was mostly food packaging. So we started doing package free as much as possible. There is hardly any food packaging now in our kitchen because we have that option, or we found those options. The other thing was that we used to order a lot online. And because we kind of slowly and gradually stopped doing that, that has stopped happening. And the third thing is, now if I do have to order anything online, I only order from sustainable brands or from sustainable marketplaces. And most of their stuff comes in either cardboard or paper, which is very easily recyclable. So we have these two big bags in our kitchen. They have zips, which is very convenient if you have small kids. So we just have these two big IKEA bags that stand on their own. They have a zip. So just instead of throwing the dry waste in the dustbin, we if there was food in it, for example, we put it along with our dishes. So when whoever is washing the dishes washes that as well, and once it's dry, we just keep putting it in the bag. And once a month, there is a very, very good recycler in Bombay called 5 Hour Cycle. They come and pick up dry waste from, I think, every area of Bombay twice a month. So you just have to WhatsApp them and they will come and pick it up from your house. So that's what we do for the dry waste. But I think the whole thing is to, first of all, generate less waste.
Yeah.
And the way to generate less waste is to not use disposables, is to try and consume as many things package free as possible. Those are the two ways that you can really reduce your waste.
Right. And when you say that, I love what you said, which is about to start your zero waste journey, you need to buy less, right? And quite brave of you to delete those apps. I go on these long sabbaticals of shopping. Like I won't shop for a year altogether. I won't shop for a year and a half. And, then it gets only need based, the running shoes worn off, or, if something is torn and cannot be stitched or repaired, then obviously I'll go on buying these 2-3 things that I've really been craving for a year or so. But I've never been able to do that for general store purposes like an Amazon or something, for the sheer convenience of it, right? So I haven't been able to delete it. But how do you consciously buy less to support the 3 R's of reduce, reuse and recycle? And actually I love to add the fourth one, which is repair. I think that is, especially in a country like India, I think that fourth R is so important. जैसे हमारे उधर एक knife भी खराब हो जाती है ना, so we don't just chuck it. We'll take the dhar wala and
the guy with the cycle,
and we'll kind of sharpen that knife again. So I feel that as a nation, as a country, and as a civilization, we are so repair focused, which I think is such a fabulous quality, and we should just never let it go. So totally, and everybody loves to use these fancy knives with a little plastic end to it or whatever, but the good old chaku that really works is the one which is made out of aluminium or I don't know, metal or iron or something, and then it has a wooden back wired with it, right? Again, I think it was made for sustainable. We went for the fancy and we got lost in the track. But without digressing, how do you consciously buy less? Listen, I'm looking at you totally for practical solutions because I want to get on that journey, and I'm sure everybody.
Okay, I'll tell you one way. I'll tell you one thing for clothes. Okay, open your cupboard. So I had COVID last year. I've lost track. I've had it twice. So the first time I had COVID, I was in my room. Of course, I was quarantined for 10 days. I have nothing to do and I was feeling fine. I said, okay, let me just clear my cupboard, and I opened my entire cupboard and I took everything out, and I found so many things I had never worn, so many things I had completely forgotten about, and I realized that I don't ever have to buy clothes again. Literally, it was like, oh my God, this is too much. So I think one way that people say is to take everything out of your cupboard and see what all you have. And that will kind of give you a sense of, okay, I really don't need to buy any clothes. You can do the same thing with shoes. You can do the same thing with any category of product that you have. And I think that is what you end up shopping the most, clothes and shoes, So if you can just do that, you will not end up buying anything new. The second thing is, if you really do, of course, if you really want to buy something and you really need it, of course, go ahead and do it. People are just saying, don't go crazy shopping all the time.
Shopping and returns as well. Like
I am so guilty. I am so guilty of that. I used to do that. I used to shop every week, multiple things, and then they used to get returned, and I had no idea what I was doing. I had absolutely no idea. So at least for my son, what we thought was, we were lucky. We had a lot of friends who had older kids, so we had a lot of hand-me-downs.
Yeah.
We have hardly ever bought anything for him. It's like, you have so many hand-me-downs coming. That's it. He really doesn't need clothes or shoes, toys. Toys get passed on. So many things get passed on. So we have not bought too many new things for him. So that is one, this whole getting tempted by kids' clothing and kids' products and all of that. I don't get tempted because he has a lot of stuff that has been given to us by other friends. So yeah, I think look at your stuff, go through everything, and I'm sure most of us have more than enough. And then you can do, okay, if I was buying every week, let me try making it once a month. If I'm buying every month, let me make it once in 2 months. So you can reduce slowly. You don't have to do it immediately, but just reduce it slowly over a period of time. And deleting apps really does help.
Yeah.
Unsubscribing to newsletters. The moment you get a Myntra newsletter, unsubscribe.
Yeah.
So you will not get tempted, because I think most of the times we buy things because we get tempted by the ads. And what has happened is, Mansi, in the last 2 years, I have not got any ads of any clothes or shoes because I have told the algorithm that it is irrelevant to me.
Yeah.
I don't want this. So I get other ads, So I think you can do that. So you can reduce it slowly. You can look at what you already have. That will give you, usually most people get the sense that, okay, they have more than enough. And 3, you can just start, unsubscribing to these kind of newsletters and things like that, so that you don't get even tempted to buy too many things.
Yeah.
And by the way, another very, very good way of not buying new is thrifting. I have done a little bit, not too much, because I don't think I need too much. But like Bombay has a thrift store in Bandra. It's called Bombay Closet Cleanse. And it is amazing. The things you find there are amazing. And they are all, pre-loved.
Yeah.
So I bought a couple of things from there. You have tons of online thrifting stores. You also have swapping. So there is an app called This For That. I don't know if you have heard of it.
Oh, you are a directory by itself.
There is an app called This For That. So This For That is an app for women only right now. And they have become a community. It's like, okay, I want to swap this. There is no money exchange. You put up your things which you don't want. You get credit for it every time. If somebody requests it, then you send it to them and you get credit for that. And you can use those credits to pick up anything else from the app.
Right.
So they started with women's stuff. Women swap lingerie also on the app. Okay. Makeup, clothes, shoes, and they have a temporary swap. So let's say I want to go for a holiday to Switzerland and I need very big jackets, but I only need it for that one holiday. You can do a temporary swap. You can say, I want a jacket medium size. Who can who can give it to me? Somebody will say, I have it here. They'll send it to you.
Wow.
And you can send it back to them once it's done. So, I think people are really coming up with very, very innovative concepts. And once you get into this whole community, you just keep discovering more and more amazing things all the time. And all of this helps you to not buy.
Wow, I am blown by the hacks that you've suggested, and they're so easy that it's just absolutely brilliant. You also said that you practice the 3 R's at home, right? And I've seen Abir's videos. It is incredible to see. I was seeing how he's doing the composting, how he's putting the plates, and how about his birthday party and all of that. How do you get him involved in the process? And the reason I ask is so other parents can adopt those easy steps, or difficult, or at least those baby steps towards making the change. How do you get him to be okay with the sustainable substitutes?
So Abir has seen this from the time he was born. And I think everybody has things they do in the house, right? Okay, we do this in our house. So the kids also do that. And what I thought was from the beginning that this all should not be alien to him. It is not something that the adults do. The child should also be involved with it. And the reason I put a video out yesterday about him laying the table was that people think that he only does composting and bioenzyme. No, he does everything. Whatever is happening in the house, like for example, he's the one to load the machine most of the times for the last 2 years. Since I think he was 1.5, he wanted to load the machine, and he would feel so excited to be a part of something that was happening in the house. So we have involved him in everything that happens. He's involved in cooking. He has a stool now. He can really cook a lot, with a little bit of help. He's I think he feels like he belongs to, whatever is happening. There's a sense of belonging, and that sense of accomplishment when he finishes that task, he feels so excited. And the way I do it with him is also with a lot of excitement. Like, I'll be like, come, let's compost, and he'll be like, yes, let's go and compost. Like, it's like this really fun thing that we're doing every day in the evening. So it's just been involving him from the beginning, not really teaching him that, okay, this is this and then this is this, and nothing formal. It's just, I'm doing this, do you want to help me? He loves that. And I think a lot of kids love that. The moment you say, do you want to help me do this, and they will come running because they want to help. So that is how I started. Whatever I would do, I would say, Abir, you want to help me? And he would say, yeah, I want to help you. And then he would come and then he would sit with me, see me, doing it. And then now he's like, I want to do it.
Wow.
I will put this inside and I will put the browns, like when we are doing composting. You don't do anything. I will do it myself, because he feels like, wow, I've done this big task, and he really enjoys it. So I think that just involve your kids in everything and don't be scared. A lot of people are like, oh, but compost has insects, and there is nothing harmful in a compost pile at all. You can put your hand inside. Not at all. I tell people I can keep it in my living room and you will not know it is a compost.
Right.
Compost.